Hey guys, welcome back. It's Melody, and as you can see, I am back in Tennessee. So Pat is still with my family. I know you guys are going to ask that, so I'm going to clear it up right away. Pat is with my family, and I'm going to be rejoining her very soon. So I took her down to Texas. She's very happy there. In fact, if you add me on Instagram, I'll show you guys because I'll be posting a pic of Pat this week. But today we're going to be talking about 2020. I've been waiting for 2020 because honestly, the beginning of the year is my favorite time. It's time to take stock of things and to adjust just a little bit. So for this year, 2020, I wrote out my goals, and that's what I want to talk about in this year is one final project for the year and also writing out your goals for 2020. So as you guys know, I really like this clear notebook. I've used it, I've talked about it so many times, but basically it's the end all be all of notebooks because you can customize it, take out pages where you want and stick them anywhere you want without using a binder. You don't have to open it with a binder, that binder noise, and it's not bulky. It looks so sleek. 2020, I've got my list laid out, and as you guys can see, because I zoomed on in, basically I've written it with a lot of color, so I like to use my color pencils and markers and stuff like that just to make it pop. So 2020 is going to be I've been waiting for this year all my life. So I worked really hard, and 2020 I have limited my goals down. As you can see, it's a very small amount of goals. As if you limit to a couple, you can really focus and flourish in those goals. If you have too many goals, you're running around traveling to too many places or doing too many hobbies, you don't get the joy out of each thing. And the thing is when you have constraints, whether it's time constraints or monetary constraints, it forces creativity and it forces you to make the most of each situation. So when you limit your goals, you really can do so much with those goals. So I'm going to go over the most important ones for me, and that is charity. There is, as you guys know, I was talking about in the last video about making a blanket and giving it to the homeless. I really want to get into quilting, so that's going to be one of my focuses next year. But quilting, or even just making a blanket like this, and really the most important thing for any organization is time. Because especially at the end of the year, there's very few volunteers because everyone's so busy with everything. So time is the most important thing. And I was just listening to the radio the other day, and apparently there's a lady in Dallas who does blankets for the homeless as well, which I think is so cool. One of the things I'm really excited about moving to Texas is there's so many organizations, so many churches, so many charities that for sure I can pair up with at least one of them and really go all in for that. So I would like to do something in regards to, blankets and socks are really important. Like I said, time is very, very important. So making blankets, making quilts and stuff like that, I just think it's so special. All my life, I've never had, for instance, a homemade blanket that I know of. And so getting one is such a treat. It really comes from the heart. Just think about it, getting your own homemade blanket. Most people have never experienced that. So making a blanket, I think that minimalism, having a little bit extra and giving it out, is the truest form of minimalism, because if you think about it, that giving back helps you and everybody that you get involved with you, helps all those people like your family members and stuff like that, because it shows that, hey, we have enough and we also have enough to give away, and they get to take that with them wherever they go, that spirit, whenever things get bad, that it's okay because we've got enough and we've got even more to give. There's always enough. So it's that mentality. And then the other thing that I really want to work on other than quilting is, most of these are so little goals, they'll be knocked out in one day or less. The other thing I really want to work on is saving money. So in 2020, the #1 goal for most Americans is to save money and not lose weight for once. And I just think that's really good because minimalism helps with that. Minimalism helps in so many ways to get your values focused on what really matters, because why go through all the rigmarole just to come back to the start and realize that what really matters is community and joy and being discerning and, working with your hands. There's so much joy. So this year, my main focus, and what I put at the bottom, is conviction. Doing things with conviction. Are you willing to stand by it no matter what? And having people in your life that are like that do things with conviction. So for instance, I do stenography, and one of my goals this year is to practice with my sister. So my sister and I, we're going to team up and we're going to practice every day and get our skill up to a really high level. That's going to be super exciting. But taking things to the next level and doing things with conviction. And for me, giving back is something to do with conviction, and also making time for relationships, not just love relationships, but all relationships. And I hadn't previously made time for pretty much any relationships. So this year is going to be a shift. So that's why these goals are they're so sparse, is because this year is going to be a shift for me, and it's going to be so big. I can just feel it. I can just feel it on the horizon. The one thing I want to say before I get into this last project is that whatever you prepare for, you will eventually find. If you prepare for greatness, you will eventually find it. People in other countries, and they die for education, or they stand for education at all costs. And if you prepare in such a way with such conviction, you will eventually have your chance. So find something, whether it's making blankets, you know, for me it's making blankets, or whether it's the zero waste movement. Find something with ultimate conviction, and then you can involve the whole community as one big movement, as one big, not as a guilt thing, but as like a joyful thing, you know, not out of fear, but out of joy. Just that we get to wake up and we get to share in this moment. I was driving down from Texas to Tennessee, and there's this stretch of road, Natchez Trace, I was driving on it for over 300 miles, and I was in absolute awe, because when you're driving down the stretch of road, there is not one single pothole. There's not one single pothole, and every mile has a mile marker, and I was just in so much awe of how much, when people work together, what we can accomplish as a society. We were able to pave all that stretch of road so that we can travel, and it's just in our backyard, so we can travel from state to state, and we can enjoy nature. And what a beautiful thing if you think about that. But if one guy just said, I want to engineer one stretch of road 300 miles, that would have never happened. It's just when people all work together, that's when it can move it. And the best person that feels about that road is probably the guy who did it or thought of the idea. It's the person who gets to give back. It's the person that gets to live that conviction. And so it's not about changing the world, but it's about, actually, ironically, it changes you. I know it's been said before. Okay, so the very last project of this year is I'm going to get 40 gift bags. So I called an organization, one of the nursing homes nearby the area. I don't want to say it because I'm going to go this week, but I called an organization. They have 40 people that are in the nursing home, and I'm going to go ahead and make 40 gift bags. So I'm going to get coloring pencils, a coloring book, and an apple, and some other snack. And I'm going to put it in there with a little note, and it's going to say something like, you're beautiful, or because of you we can advance, you know, because basically they laid the groundwork for everything that we get to enjoy today. And so just basically I'm making this gift bag as if I were in the nursing home. What would I want? What would I want in a gift bag? I would like an apple, for instance, and I also would like a coloring book. So basically making this one last thing, and again, it can be blankets or it could just be spending time, but making one last push. And then this next year, 2020, making time for yourself to relax, scheduling time for yourself, for your relationships, for your own health. You can only take care of people as well as you take care of yourself. For your own health, and also for your goals, nailing them down. So for me, it's going to be traveling, relationships, and sharpening my steno skill. Narrowing down your skill set, narrowing down your goals so that you can really hone in on them with a lot of conviction. So we are back with all of the snacks. So I'm going to go ahead and put this into a little baggie over there. And I got some fruit punch, some coloring books. These look so nice for the artsy room. Each one's going to get an apple and a kind of snack. So I really like these chives ones. I already had one. Myself. And there are peanut butter, other crackers, and then Famous Amos. So this little packet is just really nice because it gives, you know, the coloring book and stuff is something to do, but it just lets people know that you're thinking about them. You know, it's Christmas time, and they are definitely not forgotten, and they are definitely loved. I will be spending my Christmas at the elderly center. I get to listen to a lot of stories, and they are very appreciative because they've lived long enough to know about gratitude. And I went shopping. I just went and got everything. Apples and fruit punch is something that I would like to eat personally, so I know that they're gonna love this because we have a lot in common. I loaded up 40 baggies, and it has 2 snacks, 2 drinks, and then the coloring books on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and load all this into my cart. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing I have my grocery cart because there's no way I would be able to get this stuff down to the car. I'm going to load it, and I'm not going to load it into the car until right before Christmas because I'm going to go on Christmas Day. So I'll just load it into the car on Christmas Day. Every time I hear something crackle, I always think Pat's going to jump on the bed. I miss Pat so much. But she's long gone now, so The house is clean, but it's lonely. Thankfully, I won't be lonely for Christmas because I'm taking all this down, so I'll have plenty of chats. I'll probably run into a few of the family members of the elderly since they'll probably be there visiting right before their festivities. Looks like I'll be able to fit everything into 2 goes. Not bad. I'm really looking forward to 2020. If you are too, definitely subscribe to me on Instagram, and I will see you guys in the next video, the last video of this year.